Well, again, welcome. My name is Terry Reid. I am a Wuthathi, Miriam and Gamilaroi woman. I'm also one of the project coordinators at the Yani Thangani Institute for First Nations Gender Justice. Thank you again very deeply for being with us and joining us. So I just want to talk quickly about how the session will flow. Today we'll open with a bit of a meditative soundscape, and then we'll hear from Junoska AO, who is the founder and chair of Wiyi Thangani Institute. And we'll hear from three extraordinary First Nations women, Michelle Adams, Leanne Sanders, and Melora Noah. And then we'll watch a short film and move into a more participatory conversation together. You would have been handed an A5 piece of paper. So the way that you'll use these is you'll hold on to them, and I want you to write on it, sketch on it, whatever you think. I really want you to hold an open heart and an open mind throughout today's session. And any feelings that arrive or any ideas, just jot them down in real time. You'll also notice Chloe down here. Chloe is a Gurral woman. She's another project coordinator with the Institute, and she's a visual scribe. So she'll be capturing the energy in the room, any ideas as part of our session. But this is how we make our work visible, is through ways of capturing, and you'll see on the boards over here some previous Wiyi Thangani work and captured by some other incredible visual scribes. I want to invite you to close your eyes and be still. And we're going to listen to a soundscape of country and women's voices. Some of them are even in the room with us today. But just find a comfortable position. You can soften your gaze and relax.
Balangara, Gramayana, Wiyana, welcome. I want to ask you, what is your love of country? I was raised on country by my mother and grandmother. Bunuba country, those places that hold my early years. I continue to be there, to come back.
I want to ask you, what is your love of country?
Well, I'm certainly feeling at peace. So you keep that feeling in you as we all talk today. So jalonguru karwar, balangara wiyana, kalindayana, maragayana. Linga awara ngangayana, yarangayana, kaninyangara wi. Kanbawara berango Thangani, Kanbawara berango Pale. I say to you, good afternoon, everyone, from everywhere, every one of you, and especially all the young ones. We sit here, we listen, and we remember your matriarchs, and we follow in their footsteps, and we follow the message that they've left us. I want to acknowledge the Wurundjeri and Wairarong peoples and their matriarchs, and thank them for hosting us all on their lands, their waters, their skies. I want to acknowledge the panel here this afternoon, and all of you for choosing to be here in this space. And this is an opportunity for us together to experience what the Wiyi Thangani Institute for First Nations Gender Justice and Equality feels and how you can sense it, because it is a living, evolving institute, not just a structure that's sitting within a university environment. You are the institute. The institute grows and feels all of the things that are important to you, because you are the institute. When we ask you, what is your love of country? What does peace feel like to you? They're real because we're real. They are feelings that stay with us each and every day, in every breath we take, no matter where we are. For me, I'm asking you what it means to belong in place, in community, in interconnected relationships with the world around you, your human and non-human kin, because we have strong relationships to our non-human relatives. This interrelated way of being is held together for Indigenous societies by our governance, by our laws. Never forget that. But for our non-Indigenous friends in the room, we see you and we acknowledge you. So for those of you in the room, interrelationship is also in your being. We all come from heritages deep in time that navigated reality based on knowledges of care for one another and care for the environments that sustained us. This love of land and connection is felt in moments of awe, in deep gratitude for communities, for the people who hold us when we need them, for the relief we get when we wander between trees or bathe in the sun as water laps around us. So just relax. I'm here asking, how do these feelings of connection and belonging translate into peace within you? Peace that you can act upon and bring to the world. We are living in a time of rupture and multiple converging crises, which are all interconnected, but they are not new. They started with colonial occupation of foreign lands and extractive economic dreams to connect the world through commerce and trade, and place wealth into the hands of the few. Our global web today comes from a time of war and dispossession of Indigenous peoples. A time that threatened to eradicate the knowledges of care and connection, the elements of Indigenous cultures that are needed now to heal and repair. Time is cyclical. The past makes the future, and the present reaches back to find threads left undone that we can weave today to make the future we truly deserve to live within. So let me explain just from my personal position. My Mimi, my maternal grandmother and mother, lived on the edge of cataclysmic straddling the divide of Western occupation, and at a time before when our worldviews governed existence. In my Bunuba country, in far northwestern Australia, again known as the tropical savannah, my Mimi traversed that land as a navigator and educator, along with her sisters and her family. In Bunuba, she would call the country into being. She did this through naming every plant, every rock, every water places, feeling the interactions between the seasons, the environment, the country, and us. She understood how everything connected, how to keep the land healthy, knowing when fruits should be harvested, tree sap left for the insects so they could pollinate, allowing different plants to propagate in the right season. Her way of being was folded into how the ecosystem functioned. Without her and all of our peoples living and working the land, country and plants and animals would not have been well. We all had vital responsibilities to care for the functioning of the whole. So, as the human occupants, we were all part of, and we are all part of, a very bigger ecosystem. But then the time of killing came, the onslaught of dispossession through massacres, disease, children being stolen. This was almost apocalyptic. The invasion, which we fought against, its intention was to erase not just our lives, but this entire way of being in the world. And sadly, that's a very familiar story to other Indigenous peoples in the world. So as my grandmother, my Mimi, lost many of her kin, she gave birth to my mother in a leprosarium. When she returned to our country, it had been taken over by a cattle property. Entirely distrusting of white people, Malngari, she said to my mother, who wanted to go to school, "I will teach you everything you need to know on her country and on her terms." Why do I tell you this? Because these giants of women were ensuring that our people would survive beyond disaster. That we would be here today to use our practices of care and reciprocity to restore right relationships with country, to heal country, and in the process, heal ourselves. These knowledges, grown through thousands of years of climatic adaptation, are the knowledges of restoration and those that helps us all understand and move through crises and back into interconnected equilibrium. My grandmother and mother did not know the international policy for frameworks and conflict resolution or peacekeeping negotiations. They knew their vital responsibility to care and love those who remained and the earth that sustains us all. And to build peace today, I believe we are all capable of accessing that truth, to really understand that at the heart of peace is how we choose to act and live within this world. We must find the practices that reject the trajectory of Western individualism, isolation, hierarchy, a worldview that has dispossessed us all from interconnectivity and care. A worldview that since colonization has led to the interconnected crisis of climate change, inequality, structural racism, and sexism. No matter where you are, these crises are harming us. They're harming us all. And increasingly so, because we are connected beings. None of us are free from this place and each other. Everything we do has consequence. We can feel small in the face of big corporations. But all institutions are made up of people. The work of Wiyi Thangani is about finding the strength of our knowledges and ways of being as First Nations women of this place, of this land, to heal and repair in a time of fracture and weave the social fabric for a thriving future for generations to come. We are listening and supporting our women everywhere to do this societal repair and reconstruction work. Because when women lead, we look after all our children. We look after our families. We take them back to country. We teach them language and the knowledges that looks after country. We understand and enact the cycle of intergenerational health and well-being for us and the earth. And I truly believe the work we are doing in peace building matters to everyone. Because your fracturing your dispossession from places of knowing and connection to place is part of a big cyclical story of earth time. We will not resolve the crisis of today with the tools that caused these tensions and divisions, but we can if we embrace each other and other knowledge systems that teach of different ways of being. When I think about my grandmother, I think about her story, which reminds me that a world can be in collapse. The worst possible things can happen, and then 2 generations later, I stand here before you with an invitation to embrace one another, learn from Indigenous societies, and we can build a better world together. So, in that context and in that feeling and knowing, all is not lost. From an Indigenous perspective, there is no such thing as ownership or conquering land. There is interrelated responsibility with country, with the birds, the trees, the plants, the fish, the water. No human is more important than the non-human. This understanding of belonging is not patriotism. When we act from a position of care and love to sustain the health of our worlds, everyone is embraced and invited in. No one can be excluded in a framework that is about the interconnection of everything working as a system to sustain existence. We find ourselves in connection, not isolation. When we recenter ourselves in this truth, our commonality emerges and our divisions dissolve. We are all on this journey, on our home planet, in this universe. Together, no one is alone in this world, whether through living family or ancestral spirits. You are not alone. Peace is the universal realization of our common humanity. I want you to carry this question into our session today, not as an abstract idea, but as something personal. What will it take for you to build peace? How do you find it within yourself to understand your interconnections beyond the smallness of just what is closest to you? Your connections are likely immense, many and bigger. Find them and honor them. And know that you can be led in this by the ancestral practices of matriarchal wisdom coming from First Nations women. My grandmother knew this. My mother knew this. And we are still here. I'm still here to give you this message. I want to introduce some amazing women who will speak independently their truth about peace from the places they live. And I'll just say something about them, and then they can speak once I've done that. So Michelle Adams is an Yindjibarndi woman, an emerging elder from the Irramagadu-Roban area in Western Australia, a passionate advocate for change and an innovator in her community. Michelle shares a wide range of skills and knowledge with whoever is willing to walk and talk respectfully with Indigenous peoples, and more importantly, willing to pass those skills and knowledges onto the next generations, to support young people, to maintain their culture and their heritage. We have Leanne Sanders, a proud Gamilaroi and Tadi woman, and the CEO and founder of Visual Dreaming First Nations Youth Hub in Wagga Wagga, a culturally grounded space dedicated to empowering First Nations young people through connection, identity, and self-belief. Leanne is deeply passionate about changing systems to better support Aboriginal children, particularly those in out-of-home care. And we have the beautiful Melora Noah, who comes from the Comet tribe of Murray Island in the eastern Torres Strait. Change has called the 10-member Women of Mabo delegation to Women Deliver 26 here in Narrm, to gather, to strategize, and to shift power back into the hands of the people of the Mabo decision, which confirmed what Merriam people knew from the beginning of time. The Murray Islands belongs to Murray Islanders.
You hear me? Is that clear? Yeah. Wande wa nyanda jolo, warang ale mangkolara, no obane koma. Wande wa, why ba? I am ini, it's Michelle Adams. I am an Yindjibarndi woman. My skin group is a Bananga. Born and bred in Irramagadu-Roban, this little town, West Pilbara on the coast there. As we would have heard, it is dry country, iron ore country, where a lot of mining happens. Having said that, it's also one of the oldest landscapes on the planet. Much like the Reweaving Ranges in the West Kimberley, there are many ancient inland reefs. In that story is a living context of who we are and how we have connected to our own areas and country. I've been a passionate advocate for retaining language and cultural practice in my own way, passing that on to my children and on to my now 2 grandchildren, who I love very deeply. I'd like to acknowledge Auntie June Oscar for honoring the respect that she has for me. I met Auntie June a couple of years ago, towards the end of her tenure as Social Justice Commissioner, at the creation and the offering of Bungaliyara as a performative piece where we have told our people's stories on stage. And the matriarchal power of Bungaliyara speaks to how important our sister-in-laws are. So it is a relationship that's timeless, and it goes on, and it lives through our children and their children. So there is an interconnectedness that speaks very loudly, warmly, and beautifully to a living culture. Through Bungaliyara, I'm enacting my sovereignty every day, all the time. Language is very important. On the ground, we will sit and we will listen to each other. Lay down and listen. Country is teaching us all the time. I didn't have the money or the budget at the time when I went and sat with Auntie June. We had an idea and an imagination of to be able to bring this powerful story to the stage. I was terrified. Her status, true leadership globally. I was shaking in my boots. And me and Jen Dugard, the wonderful, great Jen Dugard, who, at the back, she and I were sitting there, how are we going to do this? Don't know. But let's just wing it, maybe. But with that hesitation, Auntie June said, come. We then had to walk out the door and find the money. So Bungaliyara has lived, in my experience, my whole life honoring sister-in-laws, the Bungali, which comes from a deep, dreaming story of kinship, of culture and cultural practice. And more or less without it, without the language to sustain the story, I am not a whole person. That makes sense. So I'm driving peace within myself by rewiring everything I thought or what was important. From a bureaucratic point of view, having been a senior government advisor in two very serious government departments in WA, Department of Communities and Department for Indigenous Affairs. The system was hurting me. I could not find the answers. I could not cope. Structurally, it was killing me. I was dying inside because the system does not accept your spirit, what it is to feel safe to walk proudly on your own 2 feet without the skin and the suit of a patriarchal structure and system. So to protect culture, to protect the spirit, culture must be practiced, it must be lived. To retain it, for it to survive. And so it is my survival. And I'm honoring my ancestors and elders who continue to teach me, because there is no end to learning when it comes to your culture. You go to university, you get your degree, that's your book, you become the expert. Not like, that doesn't happen for us. We learn until we pass. But before we pass, we must hand that down because we have an obligation to do so as a living culture. And systems don't capture that. And like Auntie June said, you walk with the institute of your life and your learning inside you. So I'm really grateful to Auntie June, grateful to Miss Jen Dugard, who believed in this imagination, this idea, just walking with an idea. How can I step back into my power where it was once lost? Thank you. So welcome to the space, and I hope you really do enjoy this time of reflection. Take your time, slow down, be strong. And we refer to Bungaliyara as soft but strong. Thank you, everyone.
So beautiful. Hello, I'm Leanne Sanders. Is it working? Yep. Sorry, I got a husky voice at the moment. Leanne Sanders. I'd like to acknowledge that we're here on Wurundjeri country. And I'd also like to acknowledge our beautiful Wiradjuri elder here, Annie Cheryl Penrith. She has just been with us since the beginning. And your presence and your energy and how you constantly just role model us with peace and love that you carry every day. We would not have Wurundjeri Dreaming and everything we do if you weren't there beside us every single day. We love you. I'd like to also acknowledge elders here, past, present and emerging. And I'm really sorry, I'm a bit nervous, but especially being up here with these fabulous ladies. But I'd also like to acknowledge my ancestors from Tati Tati, Wadi Wadi and Lachi Lachi country and honour their remains here at Camp Sovereignty. And those taken and never returned home, I carry them with me in this space here today. And thank you, Aunt, for taking us there the other day and honouring them. I would like to also acknowledge Annie June and so how much it means and how much of privilege it is for us to be here with you and for you to truly be with us, see us and love us as much as we love you. Thank you. Today I talk about peace with young people, and for me it makes sense to have our young people a part of that. So I'm going to start it, but the girls have also got their little part as well, the butterfly girls. When we speak about peace, we're not just speaking about people. For us, peace is country, because when country isn't at peace, neither are we. Peace is something I've felt sitting on country with Annie June and the Institute, being still, listening and being surrounded by strong First Nation women and young girls. That feeling of being grounded, connecting and held, to me that is peace.
It's not questioning where you belong, it's feeling proud of it. It's knowing your culture is strong and that it lives inside of you. Peace is when you don't have to explain yourself, you just are.
Yes.
Being seen and heard. Peace is being seen, being heard and being respected. Not just in a place like this, but every day. It's when people listen to us, not because they have to, but because our voices matter too. Community. Peace is when we raise our children as a community, when no one is left to carry things along. When we support each other, look out for each other and stand beside each other. That's where belong comes from. That's where strength comes from. Culture and connection. This is culture. It's learning from our elders. It's being on country. It's carrying stories, language and knowledge. It's not something we visit, it's something we live.
Future. Peace is us, young people stepping up and finding our voices and leading in our own way. It's knowing we have a role to care for each other and care for our country.
Peace for First Nation women is being trusted to lead and to hold community and to continue what has always been done. And peace is when we walk together across generations, learning from each other and making spaces for the next ones coming through. Because when we get it right, that's when our community heal. That's when our young people thrive. And that's when country and all of us can truly be at peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Hi, everyone. My name is Melora Noah. I come from Murray Island, Mare Island, you might know Mayor as the home of the Mabo decision. So we here with 10 women plus myself, we come really to make a statement to say that there are 3 distinct races of people in Australia. Aboriginal people, Torres Strait people, and the people of the Mabo decision, the Matriarchal people. Why I say that is because the decision says Murray Islanders have occupation and possession of the Murray Islands for our use and enjoyment as against the whole world. So we catch that last part of the decision as against the whole world, and we stand on that here today. First time we use the name of Mabo, and while I speak, there are things on Facebook that are saying that we're not supposed to be using the name, but I stand here very proud to say, as long as my DNA has Murray Island blood, my DNA gives me the mandate to say that name Mabo and to say it proudly. Peace for me, when we were talking about peace, I went back to my children. Peace is when that child is in the belly for me. And that peace, I look and there was that umbilical cord. That peace them run. And when the child born, that copper or that, and even that afterbirth, I'm going to the ground. That's where the peace is for me, for the women of Mabo. So we come here today, this afternoon, to show you peace in our way. So we will perform a dance for you. But I'll get my mother here to explain what we will be doing, and I'll get the girls to come now, if they can come and sit around, and then we'll do the dance. And Doris, if you can come here with this, there I am.
So most of our songs that we perform on Murray Island is about tea, and it's about wind on the island, northeast wind. And so today we're doing 2 sit-down dances. It's about Taba Naba, one Taba Naba and one Lager will come in Naba Guatemala.
So welcome, Yani. Welcome to one of our country. When we feel that cool wind, we know our people are around. We are connected to each other through many different ways, through songlines and narratives and exchange and systems of reciprocity. And we look at the world, and the world is at crisis. You know, many of the women that have come to this camp, they're up against all of those things. You need this part as well, the quiet part, the still part, the listening part. I was hoping this camp could remind women you can create these spaces where you're building your own sense of peace, that you have the power to make this change. The track, the road is already there. It's just covered in leaves, and it's time for us to sweep away and to follow that track again.
We're asking you to start building a system that feels like it's healthy, that it's living, that it's breathing, and you're in it.
A lot of our women's projects, a lot of the times, because of that lack of knowledge exchange, they don't have the knowledge to be able to have a genuine seat at that partnership table.
making sure that we share what we know.
It's really lonely when you fight that government fight, but you know, if the Institute could be a place for us to go to just keep filling our cup and being strong and knowing that we're not alone.
We're pushing back on the concepts and constructs and conditioning that's been imposed on us that has caused us so much trauma and heartache.
What does healing look like for us? Because what we carry is very heavy work.
Maybe one day we won't have so much, distraction and so much injustice that's happening in our communities.
To stand in the middle of a fire and not be consumed by it takes a lot of fortitude.
We're all overcoming our shame, our pain in different ways, and we're doing it together.
We're all learning and listening to each other and building, better narratives.
Now we are still here today because of the dancing, because of the singing, because of the songlines that are so important, that connect one woman to the next story.
We know that First Nations women have carried peace and the way that they've done peace work for centuries, for millennia. The purpose of this camp is to think through what does peace building peace really look like.
Ever since I've been here on this camp with these beautiful women, I've been learning strong about them.
And hearing their story, it makes me feel strong.
How do we build peace for ourselves?
So if you have deep listening, then you can have deep understanding and changing mindsets into lateral love.
I believe that the Aboriginal woman have many answers to many things. We just need to be heard.
If we look after our women, society is much healthier. And once you do that, we know that strong energy radiates outwards.
The grounding that we're achieving here during this camp is what's needed for us to go back to our communities stronger.
Being here in spirit, in person, in being, in belonging, that is governance.
Peace building starts with ourselves, and we can grow that into a whole movement of women.
I can see the tall trees, the red dirt, the spinifex, really good sunset.
I hear the wind calling us to keep moving.
The leaves hustling around.
I hear history.
The voices of the old people. I feel most peaceful when we all come together. Very grateful to be here today. Calm and warm.
I love how I feel when I feel peaceful.